Welcome to another episode of Unmasked Founders. Today I have with me Nadine Muller. She is, God, a powerhouse. I'm not sure how this woman does it. We've been trying to align doing a podcast in person, but she's about to have a baby and then she's also running back-to-back retreats. So she is a businesswoman, a mother, and just from what I can tell, and we're going to get into it today, an all-round good person. I love women who don't just quantify their wealth by their success and who actually get a little bit deeper into who am I and how am I showing up in the world. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Leslie, thank you so much. What an intro. And yeah, a pleasure to connect and deep dive into more than just that element of success for sure, and what it actually takes to arrive on the other side of that for sure.
Oh, I love that. And, you know, I've been watching your journey, watching you rise recently, really just witnessing what I feel some people would call an overnight success. But I've been in your world for about 2 years and I've seen what you've put in to get to where you are. I would love for you to share, before we get into some juicy questions, a little bit about, where you're at in your journey, and then we can dive into what it took for you to get there.
Yeah, wow. A very loaded question, Leslie, and one that I'm sure whilst we venture along this conversation, more of the chapters and things will beautifully pull through. Though for now, yeah, you already mentioned it. I'm in a beautiful season of growing our family. So we've already got 2 boys. We're about to have a third. And whilst doing that, we get to beautifully still lead our communities. We lead men, women, couples, and whole family units to, now when I say freedom, I'm talking about omni-freedom, freedom that is beyond the success of what's in your bank account, though also what's in your bank account, merely that being a byproduct, though, more about the happiness that resides within, the nervous system regulation, your most juiciest, delicious relationship with your intimate partner, your connection with your family, and then, of course, family legacy and things like that. So again, right now, we're beautifully walking a journey of getting to do it all, though when I say do all that actually matters. So very purpose-led, very family-led, and very, time-rich beyond most things.
Oh, I love
And yes, we'll talk more about the other stuff.
Yeah. And, it's so interesting because I was the woman that had the $1 million business and the Range Rovers and the 5 properties. And I was financially wealthy and emotionally bankrupt. And it is not when you realize you're in that place, I literally woke up one day and I was like, wow, I actually hate my life.
This ain't it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't know how I got there, but for me, it's like the journey of the quintessential, just keep going until you hit this, I've made it. And then I kind of got to the peak of, well, I was married, we had a kid, we had all this money, and I was like, oh, I don't know who I am, and I don't actually like the life that I've built.
Yeah.
So I love that you talk about this Omni-Wealth, because I think that's so important. And for me, it's about bringing this conversation to women that do want to build wealth, because without the internal alignment and happiness to go along with it, you'll either self-sabotage, which is what I did, and burn it all to the ground because your soul's like, fuck this, I need something real.
Yeah.
Or you'll just stay trapped in a prison where you're unfulfilled.
That's right. And to know that, it's, you and I both know that there's many people that have walked that journey. And it's like, it's also one of those things where for many, they have to experience that to realize that wasn't the be all end all. True. And then it's like, oh, I've got to undo and refine now. Though similar to you and likewise what we do here, it's like, can we actually guide, mentor, advise people well before they arrive there so they don't make the same mistakes? Or go, I see where this is going. I see where this is going well before, the blinkers actually acknowledge that that's what's happened. And then one day you're waking up going, I'm burning this all to the ground and some.
Yeah, truly. And I think there's almost like an illusion, which I certainly had, that it's not going to affect me and it's going to be okay. And that, that might have happened to her, but it's not going to happen to me. In the work that you do, just to sort of bring awareness to anyone that's listening, that's like, yeah, this is all great, but I don't believe in woo-woo shit and I don't have time for healing. And fuck, I've seen the retreats that Nadine and her partner do, but that looks like bullshit and I just don't have time. What are some patterns that you've witnessed in people that you've supported where they've thought they've been immune and their body or their relationship starts speaking before they're sort of ready to face it.
Yeah, everyone is really more clever than they actually give themselves credit for. So they actually know on the most part. No, I'm going to say on the most part, most people already are very aware of what they're avoiding. Though there's this parts of them that goes, oh, I'm too busy to do the healing stuff. I know I should at some point. I know that there's some big things I've encountered or endured or experienced that I really should do something about it. Or I see a psych once a month, that should be right. Though then it's not until, and this is why I love our work so much, that universally you'll just, the script is already written, and divinely just your path will reveal to you everything. And before you know it, what I find with most people is there's this moment, I call it a life fuck, though in nice terms, it's a life collision. And it'll be like, okay, this is presenting more than just once every 3 months. This is now, I can see these patterns of behavior within myself. You already mentioned self-sabotage. You've already mentioned like working to the core where you're unable to relax, so much so that if you were to go and relax, you've got to face what you haven't, right? So it's like, let's get busy. Let's create another thing. Some people go, that's my money gen way. And it's like, well, no, how about if aside from your, human design or maybe your gene keys or all those amazing modalities, what if it's also the part of you that actually is just wanting to avoid seeing or feeling what you need to see and feel? So, a lot of the patterns will be women going, oh, I keep on calling in the same man, the same experience of a relationship. This is interesting. This is the 7th time I've had a betrayal of trust in relationship. Or, okay, all of my children are reflecting back to me the same, anxieties or the same frustrations, the same anger, right? And they're starting to have this mirror's reflection of them everywhere they look.
Yes.
And so I will say it's more this identification, if someone can acknowledge it and take a radical moment to go, I'm at the cornerstone of all of this. And that was for me. I went, my marriage is a mess and I'm going to say that I'm contributing to just as much. There's 2 people here. And I used to be like,
literally
pointing at him. I'm like, weird, this is weird. I've just got a lot of chaos in my life. And I was just calling in a whole lot of chaos.
Yeah.
Right. So just, in essence, it's like, I feel as though most women and men and then couples, a lot of our couples work is beautiful because you realize that it's actually not the relationship. It's just 2 individuals and 2 inner children that are meeting each other there. Right. And that realization for me, when I get to witness it in someone that's brave enough or courageous enough to take a step into our work, is like the moment where you just go, welcome, you've arrived to your new chapter of your life, right? Because you can't unsee it. Once you've seen it, once you've felt it, once you've experienced it, there's no turning back then, because you realize actually how much it's costing you.
Yeah, I love that. And it was, I think everyone that sort of crossed that threshold of, I don't want to use the term awakening because I don't want people to think, that it's all completely woo. It's like an awareness piece. It's like
Totally.
once you cross that threshold and you're like, it was exactly the same for me in business. It was, I kept on attracting these male business partners that would fuck me over, basically.
Yeah.
And on the 3rd occurrence, not on the 2nd, it's like
Third time.
Taps you on the shoulder and then punches you in the face and then hits you with a truck. I waited for the truck. So on the 3rd time this happened, I went, hang on. I'm the one in the middle of this. I'm the one that keeps attracting these men and business, because I was married then, like these business relationships. And then I started this line of inquiry of like, what is this? Why do I keep bringing this into my life? And that's when I realized I had a lot of daddy and mummy issues that I needed to heal. But it was very much, I could see the pattern repeating, and I got to a point where I was like, I actually can't ignore this anymore.
Yes.
And I don't want this to keep affecting my business, because this feels really shit. It's like, I'm a really smart woman, I'm a really smart businesswoman, but I'm missing something here, because why do I keep having these relationships and business scenarios where I'm in conflict with men? And so it was that was the catalyst for me to be like, oh shit, I've actually got to do something about this, and really started me on NLP, hypnotherapy, took a whole year off and took a bunch of plant medicine, which not everyone has to do. But I think once you get to that point, it's like, fuck, I actually have to do something about it now.
Totally.
I would love to know, I think sometimes when we build personal brands, people can think we're immune to the humanness of life and business. So I would love to know, what is a moment that comes to mind when I say to you, when is one moment that you think that really turned your world upside down and sort of changed the trajectory in some way?
Yeah, there's so many, so much so that I wrote that book about it, because I feel like I've lived 10 lifetimes in one. Though we were talking off recording just before, and I, particularly during this iteration of our company and this, mission that we're on, we've been very transparent of, just because you do the work doesn't mean life stops lifing. Doesn't then mean you don't experience hardships again because you're healed. Like, we're the first people to go, hey, if anyone ever told you they're healed, unsubscribe.
Run, yeah.
Like run so fast. We're merely on our journey, and this is a forever lifelong journey, forever the student, forever the beginner. And we're merely, steps ahead of people, being like, hey, we'll show you the way, right? Whilst we're on the way. And I think that that's really, really important and a noteworthy thing to mention, because unfortunately, the industry, or even the world, I should say, is filled with people being like, I'm the guru, I finished my journey, rather than, hey, I'm on the journey, right? And I'm going to also showcase beautifully with integrity. And I'm very big on, from the scar versus the wound, like be very, cognizant of when and how and for what purpose you're going to share something. Though even in the last 5 years, we've encountered massive iterations of ourselves. And when I talk about that loss within our family, so our very own family, I'm pregnant now with our third boy, though I went through 2 really significant baby losses. And in ways that were really, well, I will say, was such a stepping stone for me, even with how I lead now. You think something may not happen to you, or you think you've done this beautiful feminine energy womb healing work, and you can still encounter what you must and what is on your path to encounter when you're on the journey. And for many people, when we were experiencing some things and sharing it at the onset, I basically took time to sit in sacred healing of that, and took some time abroad to really, it wasn't even just to sit with, though, to beautifully grieve what just occurred for us and our family. And, to even be able to do that during a time when you're leading others. So many people go, oh, though, then how do you lead other people while you do that? It's like, that's exactly what I mean by, you're in the work, you're embodying the work while you're integrating the work of your own. And that's okay when you're sitting in beautiful leadership spaces and have the mastery to hold that, honor that, though make sure that you're doing that with integrity. So that, I would say that is one of them that, merely scratching the surface. And I guess with this baby now, it's such a beautiful experience of the healing work that happened over the last couple of years to arrive to here. I'm having a totally different experience of pregnancy. Generationally, down my feminine grandmother line, we've had women that have died from pregnancy, that have literally, I had in the past a condition called hyperemesis gravidarum. So I'm usually bedridden my whole pregnancies, every pregnancy of mine until this one. I experienced some beautiful breakthroughs, becomings, ego deaths, you name it, in breath and abroad, and lots of journeys that we were doing that has literally arrived me here to an experience of pregnancy and growing my family in matrescence that I've never got to experience before, which is just like, to me, I go, it's such the true, word of, if you're willing and brave and courageous enough to go inwards and face what you're yet to face, even when you feel you've faced a lot, and you attend to what is right in front of you and go, right, I can see what's presenting here. I'm going to go inwards to a point where I felt like I was going to die at some stages, right? Of that's, the depth at times. And to emerge out this other end and go, wow, I get it. And then now for the myriad, yes, we support women and men, we have for a long time, couples and families, though now the calling in of so many beautiful women that in their journey of pregnancy is riddled with fear, riddled with challenge, riddled with just every complication you could possibly imagine, that was just more chaos that they were calling in, right?
Yeah, truly.
So that's just, that's one. I'm really cognizant of, perhaps we'll go through a few things later in the chat, though I popped up a post last night talking about how right now everyone's outsourcing to ChatGPT, AI, all the things. And it's like, we as women are literally creating human life, making a brain and a spine and a whatever, and we're forgetting the wisdom that is here. And there's been so much of our journey through our hardships and through our challenges that has reminded me of that.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the depth that you've gone to and the willingness to keep going there. And I think the message about there is no destination in anything, whether you're helping, whether you're healing, whether you're building a business, whether you're building a family unit, a relationship, it's a forever entity of that ecosystem that you're in relationship with forever. You're constantly in relationship with yourself. You're constantly in relationship with your business, and then whoever you serve in your business. You're constantly in relationship with your partner. Totally. And I think looking at that as, well, this is the relationship that I'm forever engaged in is great. I would love to know what impact this has had on your business and like how it's impacted it, and perhaps moments where you kind of wanted to give up or not keep going because it felt like too much to hold.
Yeah. Until you've arrived somewhere that you see the magic of energy work, like, the past version of me used to just hustle and grind. I can do that. My masculine can do that very well. In fact, a past version of me, that's how, like yourself, often with a chip on the shoulder, that you can just keep on going. And I don't make it wrong. I love the masculine. She served me so well, though I had to be so willing to let go of that version of me because, as you know, that version of you, while so logical, while so, achieve like, so type A like, really? It also has such a big downfall on lots of other areas of your life, particularly relationship, right? And, or, when you're meeting someone else in that, and it's like, right, now I've got to be my feminine. And so, I will say that until I was able to really surrender. Now, when I say surrender, not just like, okay, I'm going to like do some self-care and self-love during the week, like really learn beyond who I was with all the masks and who I wasn't without any single one of them. And I really, when I talk about masks, I always talk about also that last one of from yourself, right? Yeah. The one that, are you even, brave enough to take off the final mask when you look in the mirror, when no one's watching, when you're at home, there's no conversation, there's no one you got to show up to, it's just you. Are you brave enough to also take that one off and know who you are when you look in the mirror? And so the reason why I bring this to that question is the impact that when you truly can sit in that surrender and you can truly see when your goals and your dreams or whatever you want to actually create can be created without that hustle and grind and with so much feminine embodiment that you're almost like they start chasing you. Like it's no longer this chase. You're operating at this frequency and you're operating at this trust and you're operating at this feminine intuitive, let's just say wisdom, that you're just trusting something that's beyond the hustle and the grind. Yeah. And so for a woman, I'm going to say in this lifetime, that is really difficult to do until it's like you've met yourself at a stage where you're like, I've got some evidence where this could work, right? Like I've got some evidence where when I've let go, something amazing has come in or there's been this serendipitous moment.
Yeah.
Right?
I love this. I'm curious whether you feel that there's a season for more foundations and building and then a season to receive.
Totally.
Yeah.
I will say, I know when I branched out in one area of our business, I had this thing where it was like, hey, I'm going to build the foundations, build the brickwork, though I know it won't be sustainable, I'm going to go hard, right? Yeah. And it was like the masculine. And it's like knowing though when to do that. So it's like we'd gone 0 to 7 figures in 7 months. It was a thing for me. And I was like, I'm gonna make this happen. Though again, can you forecast that arriving and then also go, okay, now pivot? Because then you get to that point and go, cool, that's my season of beautiful push or the beautiful season of going. And then this is the season of sitting in receivership. And it's like, until you know, going back to the other question, until you can see that that actually works, is someone able to go, I can push and then I can receive. This is we call it like a infinite ethos. It's like, there's infinity, though there's only infinity in all of it if you have both, which is why I love the masculine so much. I'm like, you can't actually be in your full feminine if you don't have access to your masculine. Really? So like, you know, like, yeah, I hate to say it though, I'm really honest about it online. Sometimes I get a bit of stick about it. There's all this like feminine stuff that's happening at the moment, which I love. I'm not going to be about that. Though if someone is purely only in their feminine, they're just untethered. They're getting nothing done. They're just like, really? You know, and you need structure, you need systems, you need like, and not even talking about from a business point of view though, especially from a business point of view, if you don't have that, you know how people like get rid of the box? I'm like, you still need a masculine structure.
Truly. And then why I wanted to speak to it, because I agree with everything you're saying, but I think for some people coming into this conversation that are tired and exhausted and are probably avoiding themselves, to me, there's a danger of, well, I'm just going to be in my feminine receivership, but I'm going to drop everything that got me to this point and like lay back and like starfish my way through life. Like, you have to be an active participant in that. So I wanted to bring the nuance of, I agree. There's definitely seasons of receivership, and more to your point, it's like, how deep in relationship with yourself are you, where you know where that motivation's coming from? And is it coming from, I have to show up and do this, versus I know what I need to do to meet myself in this goal, and I'm going to push to a point until I know I don't need to anymore. That's and then I'll be in receivership. Yes. Literally. So I wanted to bring that, like, that nuance to that question, because I know what you're talking about and I could sense like the truth of what you were speaking, but similar to what you were saying, there's like a danger almost in feminine embodiment where we want to abandon our masculine and punish him for the burnout that we had because we didn't stop when we know we needed to stop. And there's an issue with that because we're not actually in relationship with ourselves. And I find this, I call it harmony. Like, you need to be in inner harmony. So you can't shame your masculine for being focused on a goal and having discipline and pushing you into action so you reach the goals that you set for yourself. Similarly, you can't shame your feminine for, especially if you're bleeding, for wanting to cancel all your meetings and lay in the sun naked and can't my clients just find me? Like, you have to have a relationship with both. And for me, like, this Omni-Wealth that you speak to comes from that harmony. It lands to me as, I have a relationship with my masculine needs, I have a relationship with my feminine needs, and when I'm in harmony and relationship with both parts of me, I get to have both. I get to have the success and I get to have the relationship. And to me, this is the key when people say what do they say? You can have it all, but not all at once. And I don't believe that to be true, because I think you can have it all at once if you're in deep enough relationship with yourself to know that maybe this week I spend less time with my partner, but I'm aware because I'm conscious that that's what's happening. So next week I have more date nights and I have more time and I have more presence. Correct. So I just want to
it's beautiful. And I love this. And these are the types of conversations that I'm here to be part of, because it's not any which way. It's actually, you've said it beautifully, and hence why we call it the infinity model. It's like, where can you find the sweet spot between both? And this goes for a relationship too, because guess what? Our men get to be beautifully in their feminine too. And we get to hold this gorgeous masculine, though this divine masculine energy. And yes, we return to our dominant energy types as the woman and the man, though we also allow them to step their toes into their beautiful feminine energy at times too. So it's like, this is just such I hope for those listening, an omni conversation that you're mapping across in different areas of your life, because while it could apply in business, which it absolutely does, whilst it can apply for you and your own self-mastery between the relationship that you have between your beautiful masculine, and hear that, like, it's beautiful. Your masculine is an amazing, amazing body of work. And then though, you have the ability to be able to, and almost unconsciously, dive between both is just, or as we mentioned, have the acknowledgement to go, oh, I see where I'm at. Okay, I've just got to divert here now.
Truly.
I've been here for a few days, or I've been in a season. This has been a month of push. Now it's in a beautiful pull receive. Great. And again, it's so directional. This can apply with how we lead our children, how we lead our families, and regardless of whether you're, I'm raising boys, we are a very, yes, build this beautiful masculine, though, hey, let's also honor the beautiful feminine that these boys get to honor within themselves too.
Yeah, I love this, and I love that you brought this nuance, and we'll dive into working with your partner in just a minute, because I co-facilitate with my partner too. And to your point, I think a lot of people miss the point of masculinity, where men need safe spaces too, and men need to be same as us. We, like, people that have harmony and that love success actually crave being in their masculine. It's like if you were to shut it down, you'd be like, oh, a piece of me is missing.
Correct.
So men are the same. So this, like, again, I almost call it new age polarity, where men are to be masculine all the time and they're not meant to show emotions. And how unsafe do you think your partner feels if they're not allowed to express themselves?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm a woman and I'm trying to heal my little girl's pain, which was caused a lot by my parents, most people it is, it's like almost like how selfish and like ignorant of me to think that the person I'm in relationship with, which is a man, doesn't have the same needs and wants and desires. And he wants somewhere to put down his sword and stop being the one fighting the fights. And some of the most beautiful moments we've had is where he's actually allowed himself to drop his shield and let his heart be seen, because he has the safety to do that. And I love that you speak to this, because I think there is such a weight given to men that want to be masculine that they're not allowed to also soften in their relationship.
Totally.
And I think it's just doing them a disservice, the relationship a disservice as well, because people perform their best when they feel safe. And how do you feel safe if not all of you is welcome? It's like saying everyone has 10 identities, let's say. We probably have a whole lot more, but it's like saying, well, 6 of you are allowed to be in this relationship, and the 4 wounded boy parts, like the young parts of you, they're not. I don't accept that. Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So it's wild, isn't it? It makes you. You can see how men's mental health and suicidal rates and all the things that we so hugely advocate for in changing and being shaping a new way that it gets to be for men, and how it's arrived to here, and how it, unless some serious change happens, and it's we truly believe, Dane and I in our line of work, are like, if just every man had an opportunity to put away his swords, his armor, his masks, and just be seen. And again, for those that know of our work, we have men's work, though then we bring on the feminine on there with intention. So yes, I'm and this is with the women as well. So we'll have women's retreats, and then we also intentionally have male facilitators on there. Yeah. Because for many women, that's actually the work that they need to attend to. They've done the women's circles. Yeah. They've done the self-love work. What they're actually ready for is to be met in a safe masculine, and to finally trust the masculine. So, really? And talking about that just now, there is nothing more beautiful than arriving to a space. It'll be all, men, from all different walks of life. And as the feminine coming onto the retreat, holding that space in a really different, very nuanced, very intentional way. Men that haven't cried for decades or ever. Finally just softening, putting that away without even a word. We've got one process that then I come in, they're actually blindfolded, the feminine comes in, and it's so difficult to explain, and at the same time
I can feel it, but I want to explain it for the people that are listening.
Yeah. And it is also one of those things, our spaces are so sacred. With any of our work that you see, it's never the storytelling. It's always just the emotion. You can feel everything. We're really big about Everyone maintaining that the stories are, kept on retreat, and everyone that's there, it's such a beautiful space. Though you can't watch one of our retreats and not feel something. It's like, we've got creative teams here and, videography teams here that, really storytell through emotion and through a felt experience rather than through the story. And just for men to have a space to go to and beyond just, talking, or beyond, being seen, being able to share things that they've kept to themselves or have never shared before, or don't have, they've got lots of people around them. Or the other part is they're yet to have a safe divine feminine to hold them. They don't feel safe to let go. So a lot of my work, they don't have a partner yet, and it's a learning, it's a practice, it's a remembering that at home they don't have this, I can just let go in front of her. So it's a lot of our work is then for the opposite. It's teaching the men how they can be a safe masculine space and presence for a woman to take down her armor and put away her swords. And then for the women to actually learn how to hold their men, right? And be able to be that beautiful, soft, open space for a man to go to custard if he wants to, or simply just share what is on his head, heart and soul space that he needs to just get off his chest, even if it's albeit a 5-minute, I just need to share something with you, and he's just been sitting with it for a while. Perfect.
Truly.
This has been so revolutionary for so many people, and yet it's so simple, though it takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
It takes courage to be seen.
Truly.
For a man in this world.
100%. And I think for me, what I've witnessed, part of the nuance is, again, this pattern or theme that men need to be more masculine and men need to do the work and men step up. And what I've found time and time again is women lead love and men lead discipline work. You can have both, but we're love-led beings. Men are purpose-led beings. So they're not inherently naturally going to hold the love pillar in your relationship. And if we go first as women, then we create that space for them to evolve with us. And it's so underrated, in my opinion, for the woman to go do the work and to not punish him for taking his time. Men tend to be slower than us in getting there. But if we create the space for them to rise alongside us, they will. If we rise and then we're constant, and I know this because the relationship I'm in now, I create space, he rises, and he almost eclipses me because once he found that safety, he wanted more and more and more and more. My previous marriage, I started doing the work and then kept belittling him and saying, well, you're not good enough. Why are you not here? And chalk and cheese in the experience, because one, I was weaponizing my healing and my consciousness and using that as a tool to make him feel less than or inferior, and to make me feel righteous and like I'm healed and holy and you're the broken one, so you're the one that's ruining this relationship.
Yes.
And so continuing in the work and healing my father wounds, because really I was just projecting onto him, well, no man's ever going to show up for me because my dad didn't show up for me. And then once I healed that and continued to do the work in this relationship, the evolution of my soon-to-be husband is like, sometimes I'm like, what? Like, it's like I'm living in a dream, because all of my teachers told me, Leslie, if you make space for him, if you invite, if you heal the parts of you that want to shame and belittle and control, and you make space for him to rise, he will rise. And it's just been a great experience for me, because now I have the embodied experience of like, ladies, I've been the controlling, manipulative, blame, like taking no responsibility and now I'm the soft, surrendered baby. I'm rising, like, here's the invitation to come with me. And he craves it. He asks for it. We have an agreement, and he's the one that comes to me and he's like, what could I have done better? How do we avoid this in the future? What's the lessons that we both have inside of this? And he comes to me with that because he feels safe to come to me with that. And I think the nuance here that I see, and in my own experience, is there was a time where I didn't feel safe enough to hold the emotion that I was feeling. And the pain that I was going through, and I wanted to make everything his responsibility and his problem.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the language or the tools to guide my ex-husband to like, if you don't know how to love yourself, how do you help someone love you better?
Yeah.
Rather than sitting here projecting, going, do the work, figure me out, like this is your fault. The biggest thing was self-responsibility and going, okay, this is what triggers me. This is how I know I'm triggered. This is what I need when I'm triggered. And really creating my own internal safety so I could support him to navigate me and our love in times of conflict. So
do you see how even there's been so much of this conversation that's just weaved in that conversation? Right. And this is what I love. Everything is transferable. So we've talked about omni freedom. So that is omni freedom in self, in relationship. You transfer that into business, into friendships, into networks, into how you discern yourself in the world, how you take on opportunity or go for opportunity, allow for opportunities to manifest. Like there's so much in that, because and hence why I'm like, the you in everything is what dictates the outer, right?
True.
Like it still baffles me how a lot of, and I get it, though a lot of people go, I'll do the healing later, I'll do the growth work later, I'll do all this stuff later because I'm on this path and I know what's for me. And it's like, if you just knew what will open up even more for you when you release conscious, unconscious, energetic ties, generational traumas, again, you spoke about so many things that we experience that are literally playing out in our life all day, every day. Like, and it's until we have the embodied evidence or just a glimmer of like, when I did that, it worked, that we will have the courage to keep on doing more with that.
Really?
Right. And so, some people will say then, oh, it's scary to do the work. I'm like, it's scarier not to. It's actually more risky not to, because you realize how much here you're walking on a plank. Here you're starting to go, wow, this plank widens, because the more trust there is, the more of the foundation that is beautifully, grounded, more of you actually is online, as in online with yourself. Yeah. You're more connected. And then when we're operating from that, you've said it so beautifully, we're so connected with the people in our force field, in our life. Then extension of that, apart from our intimate partner, our family, our units, it's like, then how we serve our communities, then how we lead our clients, and then how people see us and you before they just feel you before they actually see you and notice anything more outside of that. It's like that. You then become the walking embodiment of what you're living through and what you've overcome to arrive here, which is just, I wish, and it's just not reality, that more people would arrive there in this lifetime. And that's what I'm here to do. And I truly believe that some people will just want to show the people that do why they have. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And I used to want to drag. I used to love our work so much that I wanted everyone to do it. Like I'd be like, come on, like we're out here. Like I'd be so about it. And then I realized I can't. I won't allow myself to be the tugboat. Have you heard of like the lighthouse tugboat theory, right? It's like, you've just got to shine so bright and be you and do you and be the embodiment of that work and see it transfer into every area of your life, that people go, what's like, how? Show me, right? And then that's the lighthouse. And that's why I love when people are standing so brightly in their own power, that it's not like, come with me. It's like, I'm here if you're available, if you're ready, if you're willing, if you're, and then certainly with our work, I always say it, there's a courage and there's a bravery and there's a willingness that is like, above all else, I'm ready to meet myself. Right?
And that's what we're avoiding. To your point at the beginning, it's like the more work, more relationships, more friends, more business, more, because when you strip it all back and you actually have to be silent with yourself, you don't like what you hear or see or feel. And I think that's a huge, if you're the one sitting there saying, I'm too busy to be in relationship with myself, then what you're actually saying is, I don't love myself.
Yes.
Because it's a non-negotiable for me. And most women I coach, we're actually not trying to get them down to work 4 days a week so they can have Fridays off. It's actually to create space to be in relationship with themselves.
Yes.
And the biggest the biggest thing they struggle with is white space on their calendar, because
I
it
know.
it gets really loud when you've avoided yourself for, I'm 39 almost, and I started this when I was 32. So I'd avoided myself for 32 years, or, 30 years
Yeah.
from when I was a toddler. So it can be really confronting to then make space to not fill it with something.
Correct. And do something that you've never done before. Because that's the other thing. I get it. It's like people, you've created this pattern of behavior and this way of being. And like we've both said before, it's not making it wrong. It's real, because I attribute a lot of my past and a lot of my hardships and a lot of my things that I've had to walk through actually created so much of this.
Truly.
Though, right? So it's like, let's honor that version of you that with this chip on the shoulder, or with the hustle and grind mentality, with the woundings, or whatever you want to call all of it combined, that has its place and will get you so far for sure. And I really honor actually that past version of me. Grieving her was a massive process, because I was like, wow, it would have been the same for you. You go, holy hell, with where you started, with what you endured, with what you then created, like, fuck yes, girl. Like,
Yes.
hell yeah. Right? Though it's also like, hey, if I deeply desire and know that I deserve the other side of that, you can't come along.
Truly.
And it's, again, the bravery and courage to go, are you willing to let that version of you go, knowing that for a very long time, that version of you quite literally kept you alive, kept you humble, kept going when other people would surrender, like all of that. And at the same time go, you know what, she's got to retire.
Yeah.
Like, and if anything, I remember when I finally surrendered to her retiring, I remember like meeting her in a journey, just being like, and she was like, oh, thank God, I'm tired. Like, I'm done. I'm complete. That, like, my cycle is complete here. Thank you for taking over, because I can't keep going the way I'm going.
Oh, I love that so much. And yeah, testament to the work you've done. I want to flip the script a little to go to the women in business that are listening, that are like, well, your work's for couples and, individuals and stressed out employees, and refocus a little on your journey and how this has shaped the success that you have today. Because I think when there's cognitive dissonance, which you would be aware of, it's like, I want to be able to share for the woman that's listening, that's, busy mum, busy entrepreneur, wanting to build a business, hasn't found a way to put herself in this story so she can see that she needs to actually stop and pause and build. How has this impacted your trajectory in your life and business?
Priceless. It doesn't matter what I invest into myself, like from a point of view of whether it's a spiritual healer, a guide, or a coach, a mentor, an advisor, like all the people that I sit in advisory, let's just say, I call it my like life committee. There is nothing that this has not done to shape the way in every single area of my life, every single area. And if someone can just hear even just the passion in which you and I both speak, you can be led somewhere and hear all the great stories, or all the hardships that people overcome, or all the reasons why someone goes, you've got to do this, right? Though it's not until, and we've both said it, it's not until someone goes, there's got to be another way. And this is where I was. It's like, you're seeing one group of people, let's just say, living omni freedom. You're seeing another, and when we talk about omni freedom, we're looking at all areas of life. I'm truly a firm believer, you said it before, that nothing great in your world needs to be sacrificed for you to live a freedom life. And I agree with you too. People are like, you can't have it all. I believe you can have all that actually matters, though the world just makes you have all these additional matters. Right? Yeah. So it's like, hey, if you can get really clear on what actually matters, you need not have to sacrifice any of that to build a very successful life, business, purpose-led business, the myriad of what freedom is for you. And it's not until someone goes and is willing to have that self-inquiry to go, there's got to be a different way. How are all those people traveling? Like, we homeschool our kids. We travel. Last year, we were out of the country for 8 months of the year. We still led all of our things. We came home, did our retreats, went abroad, did our retreats. Like, people were literally seeing this work play out. And the thing is, and this is why I always, am really honest, because it's like, again, I've been on social media for such a long time that people have literally seen my journey. They've seen me when I was a registered nurse working in emergency departments. Before that, or during that time, I was in our military for 15 years. Like, again, I've lived and shared, and this is why I'm big about personal branding and sharing your journey. Because people have entered our spaces because they're like, Nadine, I have seen you go from the most masculine, again, look at both of those jobs and both of those careers. I was in our armed forces. I was leading troops. I was abroad, home. I was living a very male, masculine-oriented career. Same with my emergency nursing. I was riddled with trauma within myself and then just immersed in trauma in my professional world, right? And so people have seen the journey. So I invite you, and I'm big on, like, you know what, your greatest life has been giving you clues your whole life, actually.
Truly.
And if you can just go, okay, cool, what happened to me at 3? What happened? And okay, this is interesting. What then happened to me at 7, 10? Okay, then what career choices did I then choose, or what did I then do? What has always shaped me? I call it like golden threads of life.
Truly.
And then you actually go, like, here's the thing. I've been doing what I've been doing. I've just been in other careers and doing it on the side for forever.
So, like, honestly, after I had my awakening consciousness, I blew up my business, I burnt it to the ground, and I was like, this isn't for me. I'm now essentially doing exactly what I was doing back then in a more conscious way. And I had this moment. I was walking through the city one day, and it was like that golden thread, like almost like I could see it in front of me. And I just burst out laughing because I was like,
there it is.
Fair play, God.
Yes.
I've always been on the path. I've always been where I was meant to be and learning the skills I was meant to learn and meeting the people I was meant to meet. And, I had an awakening at the helm of a $20 million business, and I burnt it to the ground because I was like, well, I can't keep this because it's not who I'm going to become. And now I've rebuilt it. And if I had have just realized that I was always on the right path, I probably just needed to adjust the motivation behind it, because back then it was status and money and escapism. But now I'm literally doing the exact thing I was doing, but it's like, 10 degrees this way, because it's coming from my heart and my service and my purpose. And
you created it in harmony.
Yeah, in harmony, literally.
Like, I always just go, because I was health and fitness coaching while I was in my previous careers. And so I always was coaching, right? Though it was just on the side. And if I was deployed, I wouldn't be able to take clients. And then, I'd be doing all this stuff in that industry, in the health and fitness industry, though I was living all these parts, all these different lives of mine. And I just needed to go choose one thing that you've actually already done your whole life. Let go of the idea. I'm big on identity work. Yes. It's like my identity was so around being that leader of many, the masses of many, the person that had to drive a whole system to operate, right? And that I could identify how that part of me from when I was a little girl was created from experiences that I experienced in my home environment. I'm like, This is so interesting. This is so interesting. And then if you just allow yourself to immerse in the work that then allows it to be presented to you, you can't unsee. And you'll have these golden threads where you just go, oh my gosh. And then, yes, seasons, this is so beautifully bringing through all these questions. It's like, then the seasons of I'm going to build this. And instead of, whilst I'm big on making very, executive decisions that make sense, I'm also like, hey, you've got to also be willing to. So I did a lot of burning the boats. And sometimes, when people come to me with their next steps, sometimes that's not the right step. Really? And sometimes it's about pivoting, taking a side step, getting some evidence, and I make sense of that. And then there are women and people that I can just feel that what you actually need to do is burn some boats.
Truly.
And I remember burning the boat, burning the identities, and I had multiple at the time of the part of me that was the emergency nurse, the part of me that was the military, officer, and all of these things that were actually contributing to all of it being not quite enough to me, right? Like, though it's somewhere, and it's along the same lines. And then when we created this, or when I just went, I am going to show up as my full truest self that I have been, just I've been doing it behind closed doors, or I've been doing it privately with people, or I've been doing it on the, the side of a bedside, or whatever it is. And again, back to your question of like, how has it shaped you? Because this has allowed this version of me, and the many versions that I've had to sort of let go along the years, to merge and to like literally go, holy shit, and this time build a business or build a lifestyle and build a freedom life that I didn't learn to resent. Do you know what I mean? Like now, like, and I want to shake people, though again, I'll go, no, you can do your own shaking. So sometimes I'm like, do you realize what happens when you just walk your path and you go, either way, I arrive there. I don't have I'm detached from the outcome of when or how, because again, the world and social media is like quantum leap all the time. Like, it's like, hey, you've got your path and you get to walk that too. And then you realize that steps can appear when you just take steps that are pretty freaking scary.
Yeah.
And
I love this because I get, the whole premise of this podcast is for those that might be on the path that are thinking of giving up.
Yeah.
And what you've just spoken to is like, it played out in my mind as a movie of like walking the path and kind of knowing where I'm going, having no idea how I'm getting there. And like every time I fall off, it's like I see the light and I have to keep going towards it. There's no question about where I'm going. I'm just not attached to how I'm getting there. And the premise of these conversations for me is there were so many times where I don't think I would have ever given up truthfully, but I thought I was going to at the time. And all I saw was people's success, and all I saw was people talking about having made it. And I really wanted the conversations with women saying, guys, we're on a path here. So whether you have a 7-figure month or a high 5 or 6-figure month, whatever it is, you just keep walking, just keep going, just trust that you're going to get to your destination anyway. And this surrender piece that we've spoken to, it's just like surrender to the how and just keep trusting and showing up and taking one step and then waiting, or not even waiting for the next step to appear, just walking until the path reveals itself.
Well, exactly. It just trust. I always say, you know what, when you take the scariest one, like I just think of some of my scariest ones where it's like, oh gosh, I don't know what's the other side of this. Though there's something deep inside you that just knows this is it. And like I've even had people that I've hired and put in my corner that they're like, oh, and they've projected like maybe not yet or whatever. And I'm like, nah, I just trust this. I'm going, right? And I always talk about when you do that, and especially during the steps where you're like, I can't see what's around the corner just yet, though you're willing to do that, you just said it. The next step, or I say the next series of steps, literally reveal themselves. You will see what is around the corner, and more often than not, what is around the corner is less scary, less all the things that you ever created it to be logically in your mind. And it's so, again, it's a testament to many women, like us, like the women that we lead, that just go, I'm willing to give that a crack. I'm willing to see what's the, I often go, even, burning the boats. I was like, what's the worst that can happen? I go back to doing what I was doing.
Truly.
Like, and a lot of women in my world will go, yes, I want to take this big step, though, financially, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, my kids, I've had this career for the last 10 years and they're wanting to like completely divert or something, right? And I'll go, tell me, because again, a mother's heart, a mother's, how she is, what extent she will go with for her children. I'm like, you would never choose a fire if this doesn't work. What are we going to do? Like, we'd be homeless. I'm like, would you ever actually allow that to happen? Absolutely not. Will you make a way? Will you create? Will you do what you need to do to have what few people will ever really have, because very few people are willing to do what it actually takes, in my opinion. So when people go, can anyone make freedom? I'm like, yes, though there's a type of person that is willing to make omni freedom.
Truly.
There's a lot of people that are able to make financial freedom, for sure. That there's now so many beautiful ways that you can do that. There's opportunities everywhere. Though omni freedom, where inside, like it feels better actually on the inside than what it looks on the outside. Like that's a whole nother thing, and that's a willingness piece.
True.
And it's like for a mother especially, I feel as though, you know, most women are scared. No, I'll say more women are scared to jump when actually their greatest catalyst, they're looking right back at them, their children, and they wouldn't ever let them be homeless. They wouldn't never let them not have food on the table. So use them as every bit of, you know, like you're my catalyst, you're my reason, you're my opportunity. And in fact, the last podcast I spoke about was like, make that the first step, though then, like that gets you going. Though then don't make every move about your children. It's about, how about you, your inner child? What if you're starting to then make moves that are beyond because my children are my why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like I'm not doing things now because of my children.
Truly.
I'm doing things. Yeah. It's like, can we arrive to there too? Can it be first your reason, your catalyst, you know, no longer your excuse as to why you cannot, let's just say, though then when you're on the path, it's like shift the focus.
Yeah. I say often, and I've had some pretty deep conversations about this, we're mothers, not martyrs. And I feel there's a lot of martyrdom in motherhood where
oh gosh, yeah,
it's like we're subconsciously using them as the excuse, and we think that it's not going to play out down the line, but it becomes a subconscious pattern that plays out with jealousy and control and like a subconscious resentment for our children for taking our life from us.
Totally. And you know what I always totally go, and I love this conversation because I see it in so many ways. So one, I go, imagine bearing the weight on your shoulders as a child, that because of you, your mum lost her identity.
Truly.
Because of you, your mum didn't do what she wanted to do. Because of you, like this, I get, look at how passionate I get. And then because I can't unsee what I see and what I get to support people to shift on retreats and experiences with us, it doesn't matter male or female, couples, it's so beautiful. It brings tears to my eyes, actually. All they actually want is their mum to have been happy and full and complete and do what she wanted to do.
Really?
Like, and they will literally just go like just, I wanted you to just live your life.
Literally.
I didn't want you to wait for me.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful because then you can imagine, you know, you're in a room full of other people and they're like, shit, my mum did the same. And she did it out of love. Like, let's remember, you know, we do it, or generally speaking, we do it out of love. Though I'm also like, there's also a part that women can play unconsciously where they utilize that as a weapon and they go, oh, because of this. And again, maybe conscious, again, nuance person to person, though it's like when it's ingrained, you know, generation after generation after generation, it's kind of hard not to see it unless it's in plain sight. And that's a beautiful thing. And it's like if more men and women heard more other grown-ass men and women saying that,
yes,
just maybe more mums would go, actually, shit, yeah, I'm instead of, you know, martyring my motherhood journey, I'm actually going to show them, you know, their mum. They're gonna see and experience the
me
full
as me, because you were yourself before you fucking had kids, and where did that relationship go? You don't get to drop yourself just because there's a new person in the equation, because you're teaching yourself that you're not worth love unless you're a mother. It's such a big conversation, right? We can go again. I want to just, before we wrap up, you've touched on a couple of times the masks that you've witnessed yourself wear, and I would love for you to speak to, given that this is called Unmasked Founders, just to bring awareness to people that are listening. What are some of the masks in your own journey that you've had to sit with, be with, love, integrate?
And most people go, oh, yep, I've had that one. The fixer, the want to bring everyone along, and that started in my childhood and in my upbringing, because if I was able to control the situation, then it'd be less chaotic, it'd be less violent, it'd be less. And if I was the high achiever, or if I did something well at school, if I was the school captain, if I won the race, then I could go home and then say, hey, I've done this, and maybe that night it wouldn't be so bad, right? So there are a couple of them. The people pleaser, of course, then was you know, I was riddled in it, because then that allowed me to actually avoid me. I'll make it about everybody else. So that people pleaser one was massive, and dare I say it, you know, it's something that can be lost in transition, even on someone's continued journey of growth. So if you've been on a journey, like I wouldn't say that people pleasing is something that's just like one and done. You go and do it, it's such a lifelong experience. When I say, the perfectionist, the past version of me used to have everything so controlled, everything so planned. Last year I went on a trip for like 8 months around the world and I didn't even know what we were doing. Dane literally would plan things and I'd just be like, I don't even know where I'm going. Right, Mexico, shit, Bahamas. Okay, cool. 10 years ago, I would have a folder with an itinerary, like the whole
to the minute.
Like you and we laugh about it now and there's still, and it's okay if you're there, it's okay though. All that was a lack of self-trust.
Truly.
That's all that was.
And feeling safe in the world. It's like
feeling safe.
I need to know where I am and what I'm doing and who I'm with, because not that we have awareness of this. It's like the little girl saying, am I going to be safe here?
Correct. And it makes me just go, oh my, and again, this is then beautifully wound in with the feminine being able to find safety and security, though that's safety within yourself first. Truly. To actually be led, to actually allow yourself to be both the leader and then the follower. So that ability to just trust myself and then trust things outside of myself. So then a man, my husband, we always say, we've had an interesting journey, which is why couples work is one of our massive, passions of why we do this work as well. We say we've married 4 different versions of each other, right? So we're in our 4th marriage, and then but up to the same person.
Yeah.
So not the same person. We are totally different from all those years ago. And then outside of that, faith, spirituality outside of me. So I could keep going though. There are a few of the masks that were definitely well and truly present that had to, and I was ready and willing to let go, because whilst they got me so far, they were certainly never going to arrive me here.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the reverence I can feel that you have for your partner. And in working together, especially in couples work, you would have to have that. And I love the evolution of the partnership, because we're only like 18 months in about to get married, and we're committed to choosing each other every day and not marrying this version of us. We're kind of marrying the journey rather than the person.
Yes.
And like making promise to that I will continue to grow, I will continue to show up, I will continue to evolve both as an individual and inside of this. So I love that you have that with your partner. Just quickly, how has working together shaped your relationship and doing these collaborations?
Yeah, never in my wildest dreams would I see, I definitely saw it though, in the ways that we do it so beautifully now in harmony, right? There's things that's Dane, and he leads that part. And there's things that is me and I lead that part. And there's things that we can intertwine. So as we've alluded to this whole episode, when we're operating from us and our fullest self or our fully expressed self, and we're able to allow the other person to sometimes lead and then us to follow, and then vice versa, we've created such a dynamic partnership in business and in mission, and then yet in personal life. And again, it has taken many years. Let's be really honest. I'm not someone that's like overnight you can just work with you. Like, it has taken beautiful time. Though again, it has been such a journey of our own, like, I'm going to say trajectory of self as to how we've arrived here.
Yeah.
So again, if you're working with your partner, or you're looking to go into business or partnership, or, sub-partnership with your partner in any shape, way or form, it's like the work that will always set you in great stead is the inner work. Like I often, I've got so many gifts here and intuitive gifts here. I often see Dane as his inner child. And obviously I know his story back to front. I know, we chose also to marry that inner child, right? And I remember a past version of me in controlling and in blaming and all those things, where now I can't unsee that, and I would never treat or do that to that little inner boy ever again. And so I see and same with him, right? With my inner girl. And so whilst we're on this beautiful journey of growth within ourselves and then also leading that, within our communities and across the world, it's like we continue to do the ever evolving work that is us, ourselves, separately, and then also together. We just came back from the States a few months ago, and, in one of the journeys, we decided, you know what? You're over on that side of the room and I'm over on this side of the room, and this is just for me and that's just for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's also being really aware of how you can still be your own, autonomous person in this journey and yet be so fused in sacred union. Like we don't say that we're married, we're like in sacred union. We've transcended marriage.
Truly.
Marriage has so many confines and so many things, and that's okay. Though it gets to the point, and this is beautiful because you're starting in really the realms of sacred union for you guys. Whereas for us, it's like, we got married. We had the rules and all the things that was projected in this societal conditioning. And then it was like, hey, we were willing to unsubscribe from all of that, re-identify what that means, and create our own sacred unity and what that means to us. And that has been, again, I'll utilize the word priceless. So there's no word for it, in how we lead ourselves, our business, our family. We're with each other all the time. Again, we world school our kids. We're literally a unit constantly.
Yeah.
And that the us in it has been the pivotal. Yeah.
And I feel what you're talking to, and I feel very similar with my partner, is like the energetic fluidity where you're not subscribing to narratives or roles or it should look a certain way, and allowing the harmony with your self-relationship, his self-relationship, to dictate how you interact and weave and create magic together. So I think that's crucial for people listening. Everything starts with you, even your relationship. And to my story at the beginning where I was talking about how I show up in my marriage now versus how I showed up in my marriage previously, had nothing to do with the men that I chose, and maybe slightly, but 98% of it was the woman I became, my capacity to receive, my capacity to surrender, my capacity to trust, and then my relationship reflected that back to me. So,
I just more people need to hear that. It's like, just even if you need to go back and play that, like, everything is you. You are the cornerstone. Like, this is why, sometimes people come to me, we don't even touch their business. We just work on them, and then their business will skyrocket.
100%.
We had a man on our retreat recently. He was in the middle of transitioning his business and wanting to sell it on and early retire. Amazing story. Got evaluated 30 million, came on to our retreat. Couple of months later, 60 million, sold it. We didn't even look under the hood of his business.
And 90% you don't. People, honestly, half the time people are like, I'm coming to scale my business, and all we're focusing on is their self-relationship and their personal relationship. And in deepening that, they're like, wow, my business feels easy. And I'm like, yes, because your life was chaos, your business was chaos.
Like, shock horror. Or they'll be like, oh, just everything's gone really well. We've got some women and men that are in corporate, and they're like, just the kids are great. Like, everything's happening. I'm like, yeah, because the harmony and the infinite relationship that's happening at home, the energy at home, the nervous system regulation at home is making all of the external just beautifully be in flow. And again, providing reverence to the fact that life will continue to life. There'll be beautiful things that come onto your path. They're meant to, though, like, it is a journey far, more exciting when it's actually just a journey where you get to ride in it rather than like tackling it and having to, almost pull these levers for things to go your way. Can we be brave enough to detach from the outcome? Know that the how you're willing to, with your masculine and your feminine, be in the push, pull, in the beautiful receivership, in the doing and the action, and also allow yourself to be in the full receivership of life in its entirety, right? Like, in its entirety. It baffles me. I know we haven't even touched on the fun, joy, play aspect.
Yes.
Like, if more people did that, their business would grow.
Truly.
If more people actually had more intimacy, and when I say intimacy, with themselves, and that doesn't mean, I'm not even just talking like the pleasure of life, the pleasure of food.
Really.
Watch energetically the frequency of other things in your life.
Truly. That's like they're saying, well-fucked women make more money because they're actually in pleasure, and it's very little
Pleasure
to do with
space.
sex. It's and more to do with the pleasure and the
Right.
receivership and the like giving yourself permission to have
Yes.
fun and pleasure here.
Right? Like sometimes I just go, hey, tell me when you last had fun. Someone's like, I don't know, play, joy, what's that? It's like, no wonder you've got no energy. It's like
Truly.
sleep begets more sleep, energy and intimacy and pleasure and play and joy and fun. If that is not in my daily life, then my my values are not in check.
Truly.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you're listening to this now and you're like, I don't have fun, and you're like, I don't even know what to do for fun, that is one thing you can just start actioning.
100%. Like, couldn't agree more. It's one of the measures that you should really, like this Omni-Wealth, it's like, how much fun am I having while I'm doing this? What is joy for me? What is pleasure for
What is
me?
joy, right? What is correct? And if it's like, and for some people, they're like, I don't know, maybe like when I was 18, I loved ice skating. I'm like, you're 40 years old now and you don't know, like maybe it's not ice skating though anymore. Maybe
Truly.
it's something else. Maybe you start something else. I had a woman that she just then fell in love with bongos. Like, amazing. And like it was the vibration and it was all this stuff. I was like, let's go do bongos. And then in Burleigh on the Gold Coast, there's this on the hill, you can just listen to the bongos. I was like, great, let's start there. Ended up buying bongos. Now she's doing bongos. Like, again, whatever it is, maybe it's pole dancing, maybe it's a sport, right? Whatever it is, or simply it's just, intimacy with yourself, with your partner, whatever it is. And intimacy to me, have you ever heard of like, into me, I'm allowing you to see, right? Like, what if it could just also be that with yourself? Like what I said at the start, maybe the final mask is like, am I willing to see the woman behind that?
Yeah, I love that. And again, to loop it into everything we're talking about, if you don't know how to date yourself, then no one else is going to know how to date you either. If you don't know how to make yourself happy, no one else is going to know how to make you happy. So if you're not like taking yourself on dates to try new things, like, is it dancing? Is it embodiment work? Is it singing? Is it whatever it is, if you're not curious with yourself and what makes you happy, you cannot expect someone else to do that for you. It's just not possible. And you can get a level of joy with connection and intimacy as in not sexual. It's like, I just love talking to my partner about the future. I love sitting with him, and whether it's like eye gazing, which is quite a deep practice. It's like, for me, that quality time and, shifting through whether it's tears and then finding joy on the other side. Like, I would do that all day above everything else.
Same.
So, but I did that with myself. Like, I was single and celibate for 4 years, and it wasn't until I met myself in that someone showed up in my life that could meet me in it too. And to those that are in a relationship that want to, and Nadine, your story, and I could go into so many questions on how you've transformed your marriage. I imagine there were seasons where you felt alone and were just dating yourself inside of that and figuring yourself out. And then you came back together once you'd sort of hit that like crescendo of deepening with yourself to deepen in union.
Absolutely. And then conversely, I can see how I played a part where Dane felt so alone being married to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you've said it beautifully too. Can we all take the acknowledgement, the radical responsibility of every part that we play in every single relationship?
Every
single relationship.
If you've got a shit client, it's reflecting something inside of you.
Right?
If you've got a shit partner, it's reflecting something inside of you. If your kid's being an arsehole, it's reflecting something inside of you.
Literally.
Everything
outside of us is merely a reflection within. And yes, I'm also very aware of, blanket rules.
True, yeah.
And then sometimes there's things where you're just like, wow, why is that in my orbit? Why is that in my force field? Though that's the part where, depending on where you're at on your journey, you can see, I can see why that's present. I can see why that's shown up for me.
Yeah.
And it's like, this has been such a beautiful conversation where it's pulled so many different areas, trajectories and different, like, I guess domains of life.
Yes.
So if we can come back to that one thing, like, and it's, it's not spoken about enough, though it is in that whole space of like, it is you, everything is you, nothing is not you. And if we can truly, attend to that version of us through all seasons of life, and know that, within you there's so much, wisdom, and then generational traumas. And then at the same time, I also talk about, cool, there's traumas, though. Let's also talk about the generational wisdoms that we get to bring through, right? Because like right now, there's just like trauma. It's like, yes, absolutely. Though also, where do you come from? What's your culture? What's your backgrounds? What's your past lives? What's all of that? And let's bring the magic through too, because that's what's missing. So what a conversation.
I love this conversation. I'm going to wrap us up because we're going to keep talking all day. I'm going to say to be continued until we see each other again. Where can people find you? I know you've got retreats coming up. So where can people find you? How can they get into the work?
Yeah, look, we're across all the things. So honestly, just you'll find the best place to go is definitely my Instagram, Nadine Muller. Go and check us out there. We've got a myriad of things, though. I certainly on podcasts, I've been on so many podcasts. I just always go and look at our work, and you'll just know if it's for you. Go and look at our experiences, and you'll just know if you have a curiosity or a desire to be in there. It's not for everyone, though. It is for the willing, and it's for people that are often on their journey and ready to face some big things. And that in itself is massive. And so whether you're along for the journey to just say hello, or to have a daily dose of motivation, or some type of like, holy shit, that's big work, or you actually want to deep dive and go on that beautiful journey, we're here for that too.
I love that. Thank you so much for your heart and your generosity and the work that you do in the world.
Right back at you, sis. Thank you.
My pleasure. You.